Alrighty. Can you hear that all right? Am I coming through clearly? All red except one green. Right on, man. Fantastical, fantastical. Oh, we are praying. There's some prayers flying around up in here. We do not need these lunatics taking over. And welcome back, Samantha. Good to see you. Where the hell is everybody at? Yeah, Maryland is deep blue, man. I don't have a whole lot of hope for Maryland. They're probably out voting. You know what? That might be it, too. What up, Joseph? Glad to see you still hanging in there, brother. I thought you'd be in bed by now. What up, Dallas? You working tonight? Red wave indeed. All right, man. Well, they're probably over at Bears and Vons. A blizzard? Hell no. Amen. Amen to that. Hey, Miriam, what's up? Good to see you. Well, I suppose that's enough people. I'll get this shit on the road. We're about progress around here, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Bongino.
The Dan Bongino Show. Get ready to hear the truth about America with your host, Dan Bongino.
Yes, the day has finally arrived, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Welcome to the Dan Bongino Show. I am extra stoked to be on the air. I mean that. That's not like some goofy radio thing. Producer Joe, how are you on this fine day?
Dun, dun, dun. It's the day.
Where are you going after the show to do what?
Vote, baby.
You're darn right he is. In the blue state of Maryland that has a Republican governor and hopefully gets reelected. Folks, a lot going on. Before I get into the show, I just want to tell you just this quick story so you understand how important my 10, 10, and 10 rule is today. It is not good enough for you to vote yourself. You need to get 10 of your friends to the polls. I don't care how you do it. Facebook, social media, email, phone call, drive them, carry them. I don't care what you need to do. You can't drag them. That would be against the law. But you can get them there voluntarily if they can't get a ride. Find 10 friends. This is important. This is critical. I have done my duty. I have contacted my 10, well, maybe 8 because Joe technically doesn't count. But I got to get 2 more. I have been in the gym. Folks, if you know me, and you know me from the gym, that's the only place I go. I never leave my house anymore, right? How many people in the gym who listen to me? You're winking and nodding. Right? Have I told you? Did you vote? Did you vote? Did you vote? They like me from Fox News, Joe, and even they don't want to talk to me anymore because they're afraid I'm going to ask them if they voted again. You got to vote. It is election day. Now, just a quick story to show you how I know you listen to the show, right? And you all know, oh, it's election day. Everybody knows that. No, they don't. Joe, remember Brian Murphy from Maryland ran against Bob Ehrlich? You remember Brian, right?
Yeah, sure.
He was like this upstart conservative. I knew Brian well. He was my campaign chairman. He told me a fascinating story once about a midterm election I never, ever forgot. He said he owns a Smith Island bakery. They make these really cool Smith Island, Smith Island cakes, right? They're delicious. So he owns this bakery, and he was talking about a midterm gubernatorial election in Maryland when Larry Hogan was running for the first time, the Republican, against Democrat Anthony Brown. Mm-hmm. And one of his employees in the bakery, it was like the biggest thing in Maryland, or so we thought, because he says to one of his employees, he's like, hey, you voting today? The guy's like, for who? He's like, the governor. And the guy goes, who is the governor? Bob Ehrlich? Folks, Bob Ehrlich hadn't been the governor for 8 years. The guy who worked for him had no idea. I'm not knocking the guy. People work for a living. They do stuff. Politics is my job. Yeah. The point I'm trying to make to you is don't assume because you are an informed, active, political person who stays involved with the issues in the elections that your neighbor knows too. Don't assume that. People have lives. They work. They have problems. They have jobs. They have kids. Some people may have no idea. That's why I'm telling you, call your friends. Hey, did you vote? I don't think I'm registered. Well, a lot of them have game day registration. Go take them to the polls. Get them voting, please. Here's one more story. I was at a campaign rally a long time ago up in Maryland. I think it was for Kathy Szeliga. I don't even remember. And there was a member of the NRA there who gave a number. And forgive me, I don't have the exact number. So, but the speech was staggering. He said something like there are, I don't know, X number of gun owners in the United States. I don't know, whatever, 30, 40 million. I don't know. I'm not going to give you the exact number. But he said, shockingly, something like 10% of them aren't even registered to vote. That's 3 million people or something like that. Even if the number was 5 million or 1 million, a million people who are gun owners are not voting against their, against people who are trying to take away their firearm rights, like Stacey Abrams, the gubernatorial candidate in Georgia, who can't even say on CNN if she'll disavow gun confiscation. Folks, please do not assume everybody in your neighborhood knows. Go find 10 people and get to the polls. This is a critical election. All right, sorry about that Ehrlich story, but I never forgot that. The guy goes, isn't Bob Ehrlich the governor? Bob Ehrlich had been the governor of Maryland for 8 years. 8 years. The guy had no idea there was even an election. All right, folks, today's show brought to you by our buddies at My Patriot Supply. We're in a season of change, and sometimes that's not good.
No, not My Patriot Supply. No, Dan. Oh, my goodness. What a wonderful, wonderful day it's been.
I do. That's nonsense. Check out my closet if you ever come visit me.
Right on, Gus. Thumbs up, buddy. Good morning, Florida Explorer.
Hundreds of items, including emergency. Or grid for weeks. For all these emergencies and more.
Messing with his money.
Most of it being, listen, the political chaos and the insanity went right up to the last minute. Some of you early voted may have missed this, but some of you who haven't voted yet are listening to this show and are on the fence about voting Republican or not. I want to point out to you a few stories that have changed in just the last few days that hopefully will influence your opinion in the direction of the GOP candidates. My recommendation is straight GOP. Not because the GOP is the answer to all of your problems, but the cause of all your problems is most certainly the Democrats. I don't know any other easier way to sum that up on a T-shirt or a mug than that. The GOP is not the answer to all of your problems. The Democrats and liberalism is most assuredly the cause of it. Straight red.
The GOP is the club for me.
That was so cheesy, brother. That was like Captain Cheese. That was my daughter watched the Avengers, like the second Avengers movie, when they're like jumping to fight the other guys and they all leap together in slow-mo, and she's like, that's the cheesiest scene ever. That's up there. That line is the cheesiest one up there with the Avengers thing. Right. It was intentional cheese, though. I know what you were doing. I know the Army. So don't email me, Joe was being I know it. I get it. I can see him. All right. Couple things that have changed. Number one, the Kavanaugh accusers. Remember, Joe? He was a gang rapist, the train rapist, the car rapist. I mean, every kind of rapist. He raped me in a car. There were all these people out there. I had warned you that there was very little, if any, evidence, and that everyone has the right to be taken seriously, but you do not have the right to be believed. We have a court system for that. Then any accusation could put someone in jail for any reason.
Right.
And I had said over and over, if everyone has the right to be believed, then I ask you the question, are there any circumstances where people should not be believed? And liberals look at you. I asked that at the Politicon event I was at, Joe. The lady looked at me and was like perplexed, like she didn't have an answer to the question. If everyone has the right to be believed, is there any circumstance where that right to be believed should be challenged? And she looked at me really puzzled, like she hadn't thought of that. Everyone has the right to be taken seriously, as they should, in their accusations. That's why we have a judicial process. What's the problem with the right to be believed? Some people couldn't produce any evidence that their stories were in fact true, and now two of the accusers of Brett Kavanaugh, Joe, have now since retracted their stories after, by the way, trying to ruin the man's life, putting these stories out in public that his kids are going to read forever. They have now since retracted and are looking at FBI investigations for perjury. That has broken since early voting started. So for those of you who object to the Democrats' atrocious, discuss, and the media, by the way, they get no pass. NBC News putting Julie Swetnick on, CNN putting Avenatti.
Of course, I smoked a boatload of weed.
Avianti on all the time. Creepy, CPL, creepy porn lawyer, putting him on. They are not absolved of any responsibility here either. I suspect you're going to see more people retract these stories as well, as the threat of an FBI investigation for perjury presents itself. The Kavanaugh accusers. Now, this is a Washington Examiner piece in the show notes today about these revelations since early voting started. I encourage you to read it if you're in any way on the fence. Secondly, the economy. We had a booming jobs report that even Jared Bernstein, one of Obama's key economic advisors, has come out and conclusively said was overwhelmingly positive. I didn't say that wrong. It was an Obama economic advisor under the Obama administration, worked for the Vice President Biden and others. 250,000 jobs produced. Wages, real wages going up. I told you what the liberal argument. Well, wages aren't going up. Yeah, they went up 3%. Well, real wages aren't going up indexed against inflation. Actually, they are. Real wages went up 1%. You're just making all this up, liberals. I told you how it was going to go down. A guy emailed me and said the liberal used that exact argument against them, and he was fully prepared. That's what I do. Yeah! That's what I do. I prepare you for liberal nonsense. The liberals' new argument. Well, the last 20 months of the Obama administration produced more jobs. Yeah, not full-time jobs. Who produced more full-time FTE, full-time equivalent jobs? Donald Trump by 1 million over Obama. And then you say, oh, well, don't the jobs matter, not the full-time jobs? Well, not according to the Democrats, because when you read Donna Brazil's emails, the former head of the Democrat Party, Joe, during the campaign, she emailed people on the Hillary campaign complaining about what? How the Obama administration was creating jobs, but they were crap jobs. They were part-time jobs that couldn't be supported because of the crap economy. That's the Democrats talking. So when your liberal friends say, well, Obama created more jobs during the last year than Trump, you fire right back. Really? Because we're talking about full-time equivalent jobs, good jobs, quality jobs that can support people, families, support a home mortgage payment, a new car, a nice Christmas, some holidays. When you're talking about real jobs, Donald Trump smokes Obama by 1 million. Oh, but jobs matter. It's not just full-time equivalent. Okay, maybe you should tell that to the DNC, who clearly in their own emails understood that the Obama jobs were not full-time equivalent jobs. They were part-time jobs.
I made bad choices.
You sure did. That was perfect. I didn't even have to signal that. Usually I give him a look like I'm ready for nice. That was it, really.
Thank you.
Full-time equivalent jobs matter. And one more thing. If you really believe that, well, Obama created more jobs in the last 20 months, and that's your theory on it, then why at the end of the Obama administration were 60 to 70% of Americans saying we were headed in the wrong direction as a country? Because they were working twice as hard for less money in jobs where they couldn't get ahead. That's now changed with the Trump administration, where the numbers right direction, wrong direction are 60% in the right direction. Folks, I prepare you on this show for liberal arguments. Be prepared with the data, and you cannot lose. Full-time equivalent jobs, Trump smokes Obama. Right direction, wrong direction, smokes Obama. And the Democrats themselves acknowledge that a lot of the Obama jobs created were not good quality jobs that could support families. In their own emails. That's changed, the economic report. A DHS report's come out in the last week and a half since early voting started. That upwards of 270 people in this caravan, not an insignificant number now that it's shrunk, are hardened criminals trying to enter the country. There's also been some allegations that they are preparing some kind of Molotov cocktails. This is in the Washington Examiner piece. You don't have to take my word for it. Just read the piece. And that there's some talk of putting women and children at the front of the line of the caravan in case there's a conflict. Wait, what? So you want to provoke a conflict between women and children? You mean using them as human shields? As you're trying to claim asylum against violence you're fleeing? Is that what we're doing? Is that where we're going with this now? Read that report. If that doesn't sway you, I don't know what will. Another thing that's happened, Facebook at it again. I know this always stirs some controversy on my show. I told you there's fertile ground for actual government regulation here. That is not big government, that is fair, is the FEC. Why the hell is Facebook censoring political ads again? Facebook knocking down pro-life ads by the Susan B. Anthony list. Knocking down pro-life ads by Marsha Blackburn. Folks, I told you, sell your stock in this company. I can't stand it. I cancel your account. I'm trying to find a way out of this, but it's tough to keep my audience without it at this point.
Yeah.
It's tough. I'm in the content creation business. It's tough to get off it's not as easy as it sounds. There are contracts and things. It's not as easy for me to do it because it's bound up in contract. I can't explain too much, but I assure you it's not hypocrisy on my part. It's just not that simple. Facebook censoring ads again. You put the Democrats in power, you think Facebook is catering to conservatives? They can't stand conservatives. They get the liberals in power, they're going to love it. Finally, we've seen epidemic, grotesque, disgusting, level 10 attacks by the media again on the identity politics stuff. I could go on all day with it. I'm just going to use one example. The hapless Don Lemon at CNN just a few days ago suggesting that the real problem in this country is white men, doubling down right before election on hatred, pure racial hatred and division. This is what you can expect 2 to 4 years of if the Democrats win. This will not stop. Send a message. Get out there. Take 10 of your friends. Absolutely no excuses. Okay. Joe, you have that voicemail queued up?
Yeah, man.
For this, folks, this is on a little bit of a lighter note. This is the funniest thing. I usually don't play like lighthearted stuff like this. I don't want to waste your time, but this is worth it. Because, again, it speaks to how my experiences, I've said them, I'm not going to get into them again, but my experiences running for office with the media are different than a lot of people's. When you run incredible races and you're reached in the Baltimore Sun and the Washington Post reach out to you, you get a really deep flavor for how pathetic, frankly, how stupid a lot of reporters are. I'm sorry, folks. I mean, they're just ignorant. They just, when I say stupid, it's probably a harsh word. Ignorance probably, but they just don't know anything. They've never had real jobs. They talk about things like they know them. You know, yesterday's show touched a lot of people, Paula and I, and she wanted me to relay this to you. She comes in, I'll put her on the mic herself, she can say it. But she wanted you to know how much your emails mean to her, especially from former addicts. We love you, man. You listen to yesterday's show, you know what I mean. We love you. I'm not kidding. Big Al, love you, man. You're fighting a fight. I know it.
Yep.
Thank you. Those emails are so touching. Paula wanted me to tell you she deeply apologized. We can't answer every one, but I assure you, we read them. Also, the emails about people getting out and voting. Thank you. Thank you so much. That saying I inspired you to vote, thank you. I don't need the credit, but thank you for doing that. Thank you. God bless you. Big G, God bless you. But on this issue with the media, folks, the media bias is at epidemic levels. I was relaying some stories yesterday. I don't want to get into too many of my personal ones. That's how that started. But again, my experience with the media was atrocious. Complete ignoramuses. They were not addicts. They were not manual laborers, a lot of them. They have been journalism students since they're 18 and have no experience in the real world. And I'm telling you, many of them quietly revile you. They cannot stand you. I'm sorry. Now, one of these loons in the media called a superstar candidate for the United States Senate in Michigan who get out and vote John James today. Also, I don't believe Missouri has early voting, so make sure you vote Josh Hawley in Missouri. Superstar candidate John James, who happens to be black, which means less than zero to me or Joe, but to the left, apparently black skin means everything, Joe, unless you're a Republican, right?
That's right, Dan.
Now, right.
Yeah.
Now that he's a black Republican, let's keep that. Let's focus on Beto, who's not even Hispanic in Texas. Let's focus on Beto in the interest of diversity. His name is Robert Francis O'Rourke. But let's ignore, in our identity politics thing, a black American superstar in John James, West Point grad, running for Senate, who's going to pull off an upset, I hope. So what happens? This woman from the media calls him. It's so great. It's the greatest story ever. She leaves a voicemail trying to set up an interview for Wednesday after Election Day, right? She tries to set up an interview. She thinks she hangs up. But listen to what happens at the end. Play the cut.
Hi, my name is Brenda Battle. I am a reporter with the Huron Daily Tribune in Bad Axe, Michigan. Looking to set up an appointment with Mr. James for sometime on Wednesday for a phone interview regarding the election results. I'm probably going to send an email over to the info@johnjamesforsenate.com with some details. If you'd like to call me back, my number is 989. Thank you. Man, if he beats her, Jesus. Fucking John James. Whew. That would suck. I don't think it's going to happen, though.
Ladies and gentlemen, how is this not the greatest email in the history of humankind? This is the greatest voicemail. I'm sorry. This is the greatest thing I have ever heard. This is so funny. She calls it Brenda Battle, whatever her name is. She forgets to hang up. This is the me, ladies and gentlemen. I wouldn't play it again to waste your time. I know we're trying to be lighthearted, but I'm telling you, this is my experience with media people. They are totally unserious, hardcore liberals who don't understand economics, our military, law enforcement, healthcare, and yet they write about it as if they're authorities. You hear what she said to Joe, by the way? There was a redaction for her phone number. Obviously, we don't want people calling her.
Right.
But the reason that Joe was nice enough to cut out, the redaction in the actual video is long because she must spell it out twice.
Yeah, we tightened it up. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe tightened it up for you. But at the end, she uses the Lord's name in vain. Jesus. She goes, effing John James. That would suck if you won. I mean, this is the media. Folks, this is what you're running against. This is what you're running. That's why I played it at the end of those reasons you need to get out and vote if you didn't early vote and you're on the fence. This is the media. We have a West Point grad, an educated, hardworking, I mean, the epitome of the American dream, John James, who the love affair with identity politics apparently doesn't carry over if you're a Republican like John. And what does the media lady say? That would suck. That would suck. You hear how she said? Rewind that. You listen to it. You'll get a kick out of it. That would suck. There's your media, folks. That's what you're running against. All right, I got a couple other things to address. I want to talk about some key races, some implications if we lose. I want to give you both sides. Also, I want to talk about some analysis out there in my Papadopoulos interview where I think there's a couple who are analyzing this thing, and I think they're nuts. I mean, nothing personal, but they're like, oh, Papadopoulos was a plant for the government. And wait, what? So I got to, it's just crazy. I'm sorry. All right, today's show also brought to you by Blinds.com. Blinds.com. Joe, how incompetent am I with a drill? On a level of 1 to 10. 9.
I don't care, but we're not doing that commercial. All right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Yaritza. It was very cool of him. Looking out for mom. How do you beat that? Sounds like it. Sounds like a cool kid. Don't let him look at this crap because we'll ruin him. Holy shit. Yeah, right. Oh. Man, let him worry. You could probably get him to bring you tea later.
No dice, no good. For a limited time, get up to 20% off everything
God.
at Blinds.com when you use promo code Dan. Go to Blinds.com, promo code.
Is that still on? Jesus, criminally.
Cellular shades, roller shades, and more. Blinds.com, promo code Dan. Rules and restrictions apply. I love reading for Blinds.com. I do. Because hang
yes,
blinds if
voted.
it wasn't for them. Because I'm a mess doing stuff.
I voted long ago.
Couple more things before we get to key races. Got a lot of stuff, Joe. We may go a little over today. I got a little about to pack in. If we lose, I don't think we will. I've already given you my prediction. I think we hold the House by a slim margin. I also believe we significantly pad in the Senate 3 to 5 potential seats. I'm going to predict we win in Florida. I'm going to predict we win in Florida in the gubernatorial. I'm going to predict we win in the Senate based on my experience out there and talking to people. Activists, listening to people's emails. I think Florida, we are in good shape. Get out and vote. No excuses. Having said that, if we lose, it is a possibility. Again, I am not a magician. Wish I was sometimes. Divided government by a slim margin is not the disaster people are making it out to be. Of course, we want to win. If I say divided government because I'm absolutely confident we're going to keep the Senate and pad our lead there. There is a chance we lose the House. I think if we lose it by, very slim margin. Now, I just want you to remember not to take the edge off it. Get out and vote. Please don't get out and vote. But remember, the Reagan administration was dealing with a Democrat House the entire time and got some major stuff pushed through. Trump is such a powerful figure. There's a chance we can still push through some reforms. I'm just telling you, don't tomorrow if we lose by 1 or 2 seats. Oh, it's over. It's not over. It's not the apocalypse, okay? Nothing's ever over. Nothing's over till you're dead. What did I tell you that quote? That an enemy is not vanquished until he believes himself to be?
All right.
You're not vanquished and done until you believe you're vanquished and done. I'm never done. There's no done. The new rules. We win, you lose. We lose today, we win tomorrow. That's the new rules. I'm not done. You're not done. We're never done. There's no done. There is no done. There's only the fight. That's all you have. That's why I named my second book that. I meant it. The fight. That's all you have. Finish the race. Keep the faith. Love Paul. Secondly, even Bill Clinton under divided government. Yes, Bill Clinton, folks. Sometimes we have to acknowledge policy successes. Granted, they were largely pushed by Newt Gingrich in the Republican Congress. But a divided government with a Newt Gingrich Congress and Bill Clinton presidency, we got welfare reform, and we had the percentage of government spending in our lives cut back dramatically. So I'm just trying to tell you, regardless of what happens, there's no done. There is no done. All you have is the fight. What defines you is the fight. The sacrifices you're willing to make. Remember Malamud. I hate quotes because they're for lazy people, but this quote matters. We all live two lives, the one we learn from and the one we live after that. The path to true happiness is only through suffering. What life are you in? Are you still learning? Or did you learn in 2016 and then you're in the life after that now? You understand now, 2016, the fight started. If you thought 2016, the day after Election Day, we won, it's over, oh boy, are you wrong. You're still learning. For those of you in life number 2, who now live the life you learned from and are living the one after that, as Malamud said, and have embraced the suffering it takes to enact long-lasting change and fight for liberty. You understand this never ends. It doesn't end today. It doesn't end tomorrow. Get your 10 friends, get to the polls today. No excuses. Tomorrow, we win. Great. You know when the fight starts, Joe? Tomorrow, even if we hold the House. Mm-hmm. Have a glass of wine tonight then. Then get up tomorrow morning, drink that morning recovery stuff. We have this great stuff, right? They didn't even pay for today, but it's true. And get back in the fight tomorrow. I'm not kidding. There's no done. There's no doneness. Put the doneness in the done bin. There's no done. There is only the fight. You got to sacrifice, man. You know that. You know that. Another reason to get out and vote. The Democrats are talking about changing the rules again, Joe. They lost the presidential. They didn't like the popular vote tally. Well, they liked it, but they didn't like how it worked out. They didn't like the Electoral College. Trump was a Russian traitor. I've had enough of this, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Ezra Klein, a famous Vox Looney Tune, who just constantly attacks the constitutional republic, put out a tweet yesterday. This, folks, it's almost it's sad. It really is. I don't mean to let. It's tragically sad. These are anti-democratic loons who write for far left sites. Whenever they lose, they want to change the system, right? Ezra Klein put out a tweet suggesting, Joe, that if they lose the, quote, House popular vote, in other words, for the House of Representatives, I say that because I've never heard of the House. I don't even know what that is. If they lose the House popular vote and they don't win, or if they win the House, if they win the House popular vote and they don't win a House majority, that like something's got to change after that. What? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know what Ezra Klein is talking about.
The hell?
There is no... Joe, let me ask you something. When you go to vote for your congressman in your district, does your race matter to the congressional race in Nebraska?
No.
No. Let me just be clear on this. You are not a civics teacher, correct?
I am not a civics teacher.
You are not a constitutional lawyer.
I am not
But
a
you know this,
constitutional lawyer.
right? You are aware of this. That Joe's vote in Maryland congressional district, whatever district he's in, or whatever it may be, has no impact whatsoever. Forget about that. Joe doesn't vote in Maryland District 6. I know he does because I know where he lives. But that area is split, so he doesn't. His vote matters in his district. Is this hard for Ezra Klein to figure out?
Man. Dude.
These guys. So now they're talking about, in other words, the national House popular vote, which is not a thing. It's like Fetch from Mean Girls, folks. It's not a thing. You can't make it a thing. There is no House popular vote. The reason... Oh, this is so dumb. This is so dumb. Like, the dumbness of this is so dumb that I'm dumber telling you this. The whole purpose, ladies and gentlemen, to the legislative branch of government, having 2 senators and a House of Representatives, was federalism. State interests were protected in the Senate. local interests were protected in a House of Representatives dependent on population. What the hell is this guy talking about? The House popular vote. There is no national House popular vote. None. The reason he's doing this is because the left is obsessed with the idea of a direct democracy. You may say, oh, that sounds great. Does it really? You want people in California voting away your farm rights in Wisconsin? Oh, no, I don't want that. Okay, that's why we have a constitutional republic, folks, and not a direct democracy. We have a representative democracy, not a direct one. And that representative democracy protects local interests against a federal government absolutely determined to take away your money, your freedom, your health care, and everything else because the people in California, some of them, and a lot of people in New York believe in big government. This is what you're voting against. The tyranny of the majority. That Ezra Klein wants to change it. He wants a House popular vote. I've never heard of an idea so stupid in my life. The House of Representatives is already population-based. Does he not know that? Oh, my gosh. These liberal writers are... So the ignorance there is it's epic. It's like... It's exponential. All right. Some races to watch. House races. And I'm not going to go too deep. I just want to tell you why they're important. And some of them are going to close early. So they're important because they speak to larger issues. Kentucky 6, Andy Barr, Amy McGrath. Republicans get out, vote for Andy Barr. Why is this race important? Because Democrats have a significant voter advantage in that race over the GOP. Yet Andy Barr has done a very good job staying in that seat as a Republican. It matters because Rand Paul actually lost that congressional district. Rand Paul in the Senate race. But Donald Trump won it. Andy Barr has aligned himself with Trump and the conservative agenda. Folks, you got to get out and vote for him. If he loses, this race matters, Kentucky 6, because it will be used by the Democrats as what, Joe? A repudiation of Trump. Mm-hmm. Look, he aligned himself with Trump and he lost. I'm just saying. Virginia 10, Barbara Comstock, Jennifer Wexton. Why does this matter? Barbara Comstock, again, are we talking about the most diehard conservatives here? No. Are we talking about far better alternatives? Hell yeah. Why does this race matter? It's Virginia suburbs. We've having some trouble in the suburbs. Why we're having trouble in the suburbs is largely due, I believe, to the media's nonstop focus on false allegations of racism, phobophobic, istophobism, and everything else, and Trump being a potential Russian traitor. Nonsense media stories, for some reason, are taking holds in the suburbs. This is a suburb race. Virginia 10. Comstock needs to pull it out. She's trailing in the polls. Get out and vote. California 48. Rohrabacher, Harley Ruda. Why does this matter? Rohrabacher's been in that seat a while. The GOP outnumbered Dems. Outnumbered Democrats in the district, but Hillary won the district. Meaning we are going to need massive turnout. Get out there, California. Iowa 1. Rod Blum. Abby Finkenauer. Trump's the first person to win Iowa 1. It's a Democrat-leaning district, held by a Republican now, Rod Blum. Good guy, by the way. Trump's the first person to win that congressional district, Joe, since Eisenhower. Again, it's going to speak to the power of Trump. If you support the president, the conservative agenda, you're in Iowa. Get out and vote. Rod Blum's your guy. Again, if he loses, it'll be considered a repudiation of Trump. Not saying that's accurate. I'm just saying the media that hates Trump, they're not interested in the truth. They're only interested in taking down Trump. Florida 26, Carlos Cabello and Murkisel Powell. Why does this district matter? It is dominated by Hispanic voters. Hillary won there overwhelmingly by double digits. Cabello's ahead in the polls, the Republican. Again, are we talking diehard conservatives? No. Is he a far better fit for that district and a pretty gifted politician for his district? Yes. What, are you going to vote for the other one? You can't vote for the Murkisel Powell. It's dominated by Hispanic voters. Cabello's up in the polls. We need to hold this seat. Why is it important? Because if we've been told that Hispanic voters vote like automatons, like the liberals want you to believe, which is dumb and frankly stereotypical and racist in and of itself, but liberals can't be racist because they're liberals.
Yeah.
Right? It's not possible.
Right.
The media would have you believe.
Right.
They believe Hispanic voters vote like robots. Clearly, they do not. This Curbelo race is important. Florida 26. All right, a couple other things. Let's just get to this one again. I appreciate your patience. Our sponsors are great. They love to be here. They love to talk to you. Brickhouse Nutrition is one of them. They are our original sponsor. Best product for, I'm serious, folks. I'm not messing around with you. Foundation. Best nutrition product I've ever taken. When I run out, I email Miles immediately. Miles, get me more Foundation. Why does it matter? Why is this stuff good? Why would you even like it? Well, what's the purpose of working out or a nutrition supplement? To look better and feel better. What if I told you this does both? This does both. No, I mean dramatically look better. Foundation is a creatine ATP blend. It's like having 2 extra gas tanks in the gym. It's phosphagen-based nutrition, these nutrition supplements. This stuff is legit. It is the real deal. It makes your muscles look harder, more dense. It is just fantastic. It's like 6 months of working out in a bottle. You don't believe me? Take the mirror test. How did I come up with the mirror test?
Well, I don't care how you came up with it, Dan, because that's a commercial, and we don't listen to those around here. Yep. Thank you very much. Thank you. Percent 100 years ago. Jesus criminy. That's the oldest thing ever, percent 100 years ago. Poland and Hungary are very red-pilled. Yeah, they are. And them people still remember World War II, man. They were not happy about that shit. All right, hold on. Hold on, folks.
South Dakota, Kristi Noem. Florida, Ron DeSantis. Georgia, you Brian Kemp. You have a ton of other, Larry Hogan in Maryland. These are critical races. Oregon's turned into a really tight race. The Republican has a chance there. Folks, please get out and vote. Now, you may say, "Oh, well, you know what? I'm not saying I don't mean this is an insult, but sometimes I do get this from people who are looking for a reason, bizarrely, not to vote. I don't know why that would be, but they are. Mm-hmm. They go, well, those governor's races, they're no big. They don't really affect us nationally, so why should we worry about them? No, you should. Because it's going to be the governors and the state legislatures in 2020 that do what? Oh, carve up the map nationally for the House of Representatives, otherwise known as redistricting. You think this doesn't affect you? Ladies and gentlemen, if Democrat governors take the majority of governorships, they are going to carve up their states into overwhelmingly Democratic congressional districts at the federal level. The states do that. Did you know that, right? Most of you do, I'm sure. The states carve up even the federal map. Why is this a sensitive topic to me? Because, folks, in the deep blue state of Maryland, as Joe well remembers, that has 8 congressional representatives, 4 of them used to be Republicans. Mm-hmm. Yes, I said that right. 4 members of the House of Representatives at the federal level in the deep blue state of Maryland used to be Republicans. Yep. What happened? The 2010 census came around, redistricting came around, and what did Martin O'Malley do, Joe? Martin O'Malley came in and carved up the state using a computer program and knocked out every single one of them but one. Now, some of them were out before that, to be fair, but Roscoe Bartlett was the last man standing.
I was just going there. Yep, Roscoe.
And Bartlett was cut right out of that seat. The delegation in Maryland is now 7-1. 7 Democrats and 1. Oh, you don't think that affects you? You think 3 congressional seats is no big deal? Imagine it happening everywhere across the country. The Republicans would never have a majority again. Now, the self-selection of Democrats living in cities and the massive overvote does kind of keep Republicans at least competitive. But the Democrats, you give them control of gerrymandering and redistricting, oh boy, is it going to be ugly. They carved that seat down to the district. Roscoe Bartlett in the old seat, the Republican, before they gerrymandered it, used to win that seat by 10, 20 points. They gerrymandered him out. He lost by 20. Now, I almost won that seat. I lost by 1 point. We actually won on election day. But believe me, it took a lot of work. And it, being candid, folks, even if we would have pulled it out on that absentee count, we probably would have lost in re-election. I'm sad to say it, but that's how uncompetitive they made that district. Folks, if you don't get the governors in, if you lose Republican governorships, these states are going to be carved up into a Democrat cornucopia of liberalism. We will be dealing with it at the federal level. Oregon, Maryland, their congressional seats are going to be voting against your federal interests. Don't mess around. We got to get out and vote. Get those governors in there. Get them in there. Okay. A couple more stories, but I want to get to this because I don't want to forget. There's been a lot of, I really sincerely appreciate all your feedback on the Papadopoulos interview. The feedback has been incredible. The episode has just exploded. I'm seeing it everywhere on Reddit and all other kinds of places, and people are tweeting about it and sending it to liberal outlets. You need to listen to this. Thank you. I've never considered myself, Joe knows this, a good interview. I just don't. I mean, you're my audience. I never lie to you. That's why we don't do guests, because Joe and I have chemistry, but I don't really have chemistry with a lot of people. I just don't. George is a nice guy. I don't know George personally. I've spoken with him a couple times. Joe has, but we're not friends. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just being candid. I like him. Don't get me wrong. I think he was framed. But my interest in George's story is his story. I'm not looking for anything else from George. But shockingly, I've seen a couple people out there who have analyzed the interview, and some of them have bizarrely come to the conclusion. I'm not knocking. Listen, you're free to your opinions. Obviously, the interview was put out there not just for a fawning audience, but for people who are critics too. That's fine. But it doesn't take away from the fact that your analysis of the interview is bizarre. The analysis goes like this. There are a couple folks out there saying, hey, I listened to the interview, and now it's become pretty clear to me that George Papadopoulos himself was a plant within the Trump team. What? How the hell did you come to that analysis? Now, I'm just saying a lot of this, the analysis comes from people without experience in the law. And again, I'm not trying to sound like these media people, but I don't think they understand the law enforcement intelligence gathering process. That's my only conclusion. Let me point to 5 specific things here to refute the theory, so we're clear. Let me not bury the lead. To refute this bizarre theory that George Papadopoulos was a plant within the Trump team. Number 1, if George Papadopoulos was working against the Trump team as a plant, why the hell was he targeted by the Mueller team? The Mueller team has shown absolutely no evidence whatsoever. This Mueller is a white hat, in other words, a good guy, I'm sorry, the dumbest theory I have ever heard in my life. There is zero evidence of that at all. Zero. None. Michael Cohen, Mike Flynn, Stone, Papadopoulos. There is no evidence at all of that. This theory out there that Mueller, who is unquestionably working against Trump, not against collusion, he has no evidence of that, but against Trump. Why would he target Papadopoulos if Papadopoulos was somehow relaying information to people in the IC or the law enforcement community to attack Trump? Folks, does that make any... Do you understand how, like, tinfoil cap you have to be? No, Joe. It's triple, quadruple reverse psychology. They arrested Papadopoulos to provide cover for... Oh, my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, I worked for the federal government. I developed sources. I used sources. I worked with the IC on many foreign trips overseas. Do you really believe the federal government is this smart? Oh, man, it's the craziest theory I've ever... And then what? Papadopoulos enters a false plea? So Papadopoulos enters a false plea to the 1001 charges, the false statement, which are perfectly explainable. I'm not saying it was right. He shouldn't have done it. Don't lie to the FBI, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying it's explainable. He gets confronted by the FBI about meeting with this professor. He has no idea who the professor is. He thinks he's in trouble. The professor could be anybody. So he lies about when he met him to cover for the Trump team, thinking, I don't know who this guy is. Right? No. Wrong. Unquestionably. But explainable? Easily. Folks, Occam's razor. When in doubt, accept the explanation that requires the least, not the most amount of explanations, and you'll almost never be wrong. Also known as keep it simple, stupid. KISS. You really believe that layered, absurd explanation? No, he was a plant, and he was arrested to cover for the... Folks, that's just... I'm sorry, that's just dumb. It is. It's just dumb. And he enters a false plea in court. No. I just big fat no on that. Okay, here's number 2. Why George Papadopoulos was not a plant in the Trump team. Why the hell would the IC and the FBI target their own assets? Does that make any sense? I plant Joe in the Trump team to get information and Oppo.
Uh-huh.
I then sick Bob Mueller and the Department of Justice special investigators, the special counsel, on Papadopoulos to target my own asset. Does that make any sense? Folks, Occam's razor. Keep it simple. Does that make any sense to you? No. This is why they did it. This is all no, it's not. They targeted Papadopoulos because they needed to shut this guy up because he was part of a rather obvious scheme at this point. If they're targeting their own assets to cover for them somehow, which is the dumbest theory I've ever heard, why is Stefan Halper not making media appearances too? Why is a known intelligence asset in Stefan Halper, Joe? Why isn't he in jail? Why didn't they interview him? No. They only interviewed Papadopoulos as an asset because fill in the blank with another dumb reason. Why is Halper not in jail? Why is Halper not being investigated? Well, you don't know that, Dan. He could be being investigated. Really? So we've got leaks about everything, including what Donald Trump wears when he watches Fox and Friends. But we haven't had any leaks about that. That makes sense to you. Oh, folks, please. Listen, this is a small portion of it. But I can't believe the analysis. It's absurd, the analysis. Number 3. Joe, you're an intelligence asset, George Papadopoulos, now, according to this bizarre theory.
All right.
Working against the Trump team, planted in the campaign.
Okay.
You then get arrested by the people you're working with at the DOJ or the IC, which again makes no sense. And then you decide later on to become a public figure on Twitter, speaking out against the investigation that you were involved in?
Yeah. Okay.
Folks, again, if you're rational, does this make any sense? So Papadopoulos, who's supposedly some kind of IC asset, is now out there, unlike everyone else involved in the case. Everyone else, like Halper and others. Halper, you haven't heard a word from. Mifsud has disappeared. You haven't heard a lot from Deripaska since that op-ed. All of these people have gone quiet, except for Papadopoulos, and yet he's the asset. Oh my gosh, folks. This is like that movie with Colin Farrell and Al Pacino, The Recruit. Like, yeah, the movie was so ridiculous. I mean, number 4. So Papadopoulos was a plant in the you believe he was a plant in the Trump team. Joe, where was Papadopoulos when a lot of this went down? London or the United States?
He was in London.
You're darn right he was, brother.
Yeah.
Where was Donald Trump most of the time campaigning? London or the United States?
And the good old USA, Dan.
Joe, now let's be clear on this, because I have to set this up for the Occam's Razor people who don't get it. You were not a member of the Trump team, correct?
No, I'm not, Dan.
Now, you're a supporter of Trump, but you were not a paid campaign member. But you are well aware of the fact that Donald Trump was campaigning in the United States for the United States election, right?
Yes, I can say that with some surety, Dan.
So, the guy's a genius, Joe. He always pulls it. I'm telling you, this guy pulls an answer every time because he's always right. Now, Joe, if Donald Trump is in the United States campaigning for the presidency of the United States, do you think it's possible that a lot of the campaign members within the United States were within the United States as well? Just throwing it out there.
I think that's the most likely scenario, Dan.
Thank you, Joe. Again, so let me just ask you one more question. He's not a law enforcement officer, Joe Armacost, or an IC member in the intelligence community. I develop an asset like Papadopoulos who secretes himself inside the Trump campaign. Mm-hmm. Do you want that asset where Trump and his campaign team members are, or do you want that asset overseas in London? I'm just asking. Let me just throw that out there.
I'd like him to be where the action is, baby.
Folks,
yes.
I get it. Your response could be, well, he could email them. Oh, gosh, guys, please. Yes, he could. He could also have personal interactions with the president himself, where it's more than likely, outside of that one meeting he had, Papadopoulos never even met the president outside of the meeting. You think this guy was the knock from the recruit, the non-official capacity? Go, who's the knock? Who's the knock? It's not Papadopoulos. This is dumb. He was overseas most of the time. I have a note next to this one. Plant over, he's the plant overseas with a question mark right next to it. I swear, Joe, it says stupid. This is the dumbest theory of all. My gosh. Finally, number 5. And the last one. Isn't it, if Papadopoulos is this plant inside the Trump team, why is it that in the texts, he's not referred to at all between Strzok and Lisa Page in any kind of capacity like that? Why? Why in the Bruce Orr notes does he not appear? Now, you could say, in the text, maybe he's the Oconus lore, the outside of the continental United States lore. You could, but we don't know that. And the chances of that seem pretty slim, given the role of Steele, given the role of Mifsud, and given the role of others. Downer, and the meetings in London. But folks, he doesn't take a prominent role in anything other than a New York Times piece in December. Guys, ladies, I don't want you to waste your time. That doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make sense. Keep your attention on the Mifsud meeting. That's the meeting that starts everything. If Mifsud is a Western intelligence asset, the whole collusion story is dead. It's dead now, but it's formally dead. And not only is it dead, the fact that Trump's team was set up is now the story. That's where the attention should be. Again, I don't know this guy, folks. I have no skin in that game at all. None. I don't know him. I don't talk to him on a regular basis. My interest in him is purely in this case. Keep your attention on what matters. Okay, a couple more stories I wanted to get to on Election Day here. I want to pack this all in. Story I came across before. It's not in the show notes, but it's just interesting. I want to put out there for those of you voting, especially those in California. I just want to put out something I address often, having left the Northeast, high-tax Northeast states for Florida for different reasons, but it didn't hurt that I got my tax bill, cut largely moving to Florida. Story out today: 130,000 more residents left California that came to the state, and since 2001. 410,000 more people have left California than arrived from Texas. Have left California for Texas than have arrived from Texas to California. 410,000 more. What does that tell you, folks? That tells you if liberals are right and you're voting liberalism to send a message to Donald Trump, then why are you voting with your feet and saying otherwise? Why be a hypocrite? If you love these states so much that are dominated by liberal policies, then why is it that significant swaths here, folks, we're not talking about small chunks of people. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people decamping liberal states to move to Florida and Texas. Why are you voting those same garbage policies or trying to vote those same garbage policies in states you fled? I'm just asking. I'm just putting that out for you on Election Day. Can you just look in the mirror and answer that question honestly? If California and New York were such utopian havens of liberal utopia, why the hell do you keep leaving? Why is Virginia the main beneficiary of Marylanders? Because they leave to get away from the high taxes. The numbers speak for themselves. I just gave you them. Think about that on Election Day. If what you're saying is true, how come the numbers don't reflect that? Because like everything liberals say, it's not true. It's garbage. It's BS. You're making it up. It is simply not true. Liberalism is so great, I can't escape it quick enough. Oh,
erroneous!
Erroneous on all counts. It's like Snake Plissken. You can't escape from New York quick enough. And yet they swear that liberalism works. So why'd you leave it? Because like everything else, it works in theory, just not in the real world. In the real world, where it punches you in the face. With Antifa, in some cases, literally. One more story I want to get to, because this is important. I may actually tie this up on time, which is, I never thought I'd get to all this. Expect a couple things after Election Day. I'm not really big on predictions, but I don't want you to be surprised by anything. Regardless of the outcome of today, there are two things I want you to be ready for, because I need you to be prepared. Number one, expect pretty massive staff shakeups in the White House. I fully expect Jeff Sessions' time to be up. You may see other cabinet officials gone as well. You may see the DHS Secretary, Kirstjen Nielsen, leave. I fully expect significant shakeups in the White House. I want you to be prepared, because if it was the Obama White House, what would they say, Joe? They're re-strategizing because Obama's a genius. They're doing a SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. They're strategizing because Obama is so strategic. Joe, what'll be the story for Trump after Election Day when people leave?
Oh, the place is going to hell in a handbag, Dan.
I wasn't going to leave that to you. But yes, chaos.
Yeah, geez.
They can't control it. Call the National Guard into the White House. Everybody's resigning. Meanwhile, it'll be like 5 people. Everybody's out. It's over. And Trump's by him. Joe, Trump is in the White House by himself. Waka left. The White House communication aide. The White House chef is gone. Trump's microwaving Oscar Mayer wieners in the oven to eat for dinner. No, there's not even a landscaper. Trump's outside with the hedge clipper, mowing the lawn on the south lawn. Trump's cleaning the windows in the White House. There's nobody left. Folks, you laugh. Listen, the media are hacks. These people are ignorant zeros, complete zeros. They have no interest in the truth. If it was Obama, he's re-strategizing because he's a genius, because he's Obama. Trump, I'm telling you, the story is going to be complete, utter chaos. Trump is all alone in White. Watch the headline. Listen to me, because I love you to death. Take snapshots of the headlines and tweet them to me. You will see them after Election Day when people start to leave. Chaos. Trump. Here's one. You will see this. Guaranteed, folks. Please tape this. Joe, this is one I guarantee. Send it to me when you find it. Here it is right now. Trump increasingly isolated in the White House. Guaranteed, brothers and sisters. Find it. Send it to me after Election Day. Trump increasingly alone. Trump isolated.
Oh, he's a sick man.
Send it to me. You will see it. Joe, if you see it first, send it to me. I will put it out on my email list. Chaos, staff shakeup, Trump increasingly isolated, guaranteed. Second thing, get ready for it. You will see a Mueller report. How quickly after Election Day, I'm not sure. Folks, the collusion thing is complete nonsense. It's ridiculous. It's an absurdity. I expect to see a Mueller report. I think they're focusing heavily on Roger Stone. I believe that portion of the case will fall apart as well. I'm simply suggesting to you that expect a Mueller report, expect the Democrats to use it for grounds for impeachment. If they pick up a majority in the House, they will lose in embarrassing and humiliating fashion in the Senate. But expect a Mueller report, expect it to be a nothing burger, and expect the Democrats to run with the various nothing burgers in there, just like they ran with the taxi cab confessions case for Michael Cohen and George Papadopoulos fibbing about a date, as if that was Russian collusion. It will happen. Expect it, see it. I don't know how soon. Maybe they'll give it a couple days, maybe a couple weeks, but you will see a Mueller report come out soon. And it's not going to look good for them, although the media will paint it as the biggest thing ever. Wow. Amazing. I got through all that. I didn't expect that.
Good show, Dan.
Yeah, well, folks, thanks a lot for all your support. Today's the day. I just want to finally say, and I mean it, action matters. Talk does not change the world. Talk motivates action. We need you to vote. Your country needs you. Your kids need you. Your future needs you. We need you. Your economic liberty, your healthcare liberty, school choice, it is all on the ballot somewhere. Energy.
Well, all righty then. Ain't that special? Can you hear the dog chewing on the bone over here? Crunch, crunch, crunch. Jesus Christ. Yeah, he is. He's nom-nomming. All right. I brought this video because I thought it was cool. It had Rush Limbaugh in it.
Thank you all. Thank you all very, very much. What an honor. What an honor. This is so exciting. I have been watching Trump rallies from the very first one. And to be part of one, folks, I'll tell you, it's the night of a lifetime. You know, I was just backstage. You all are so great. This thing it's electric in here, folks. You people at home. This is unreal. You know what? I am so hoping that in a few short minutes you start chanting something else. Maybe you'll do. No? I was just talking to people backstage, and somebody said that the president and all of us have been labeled by some Democrats in the media divisive. Divisive? The Democrats haven't even accepted they lost the election in 2016. That's what this is all about. It's serious stuff. All of this. I mean, for crying out loud, folks, you look at what happened the last 2 years. For 2 years ago, year and a half, every day, every newspaper, New York Times, Washington Post, anonymous intelligence sources, confirming that Trump colluded with Putin to steal the election. There's no evidence for it. Zilch, zero, nada. It didn't happen. It was made up. Hillary Clinton colluded with Russia. Hillary Clinton rigged an election. They got the message. These rallies, I have to tell you, they are the envy of official Washington. Do you realize there isn't a single elected official in either party who could do what this is tonight? Other than Donald Trump, there's no one. No one. And they're jealous. They are envious. This isn't supposed to happen. You people are supposed to love them, not Trump. And so guess what? They want to get in on it. Bill and Hillary Clinton and their national stadium tour. Talking about, have you seen Obama? He's been stumping down in Florida where I live. He's drawing crowds of 1,000 people, 2,000 people. Joe Biden can't fill a phone booth because he's looking for somebody to punch out. Incredible. And you know, a little history. When I first started watching the campaign, I watched the president and his family come down the escalator in June of 2015. And I heard his opening remarks and I said, there's no way. And then I saw the first polls. And then I saw the first one of these. And I said, he's going to win because he has a connection. There is no other politician with a connection to voters like this. Nobody has it. And Washington can't stand it. I'm not kidding. The establishment cannot stand it at all. Now, folks, in all candor, you know, we're a nation, great nation, at risk in a dangerous world, and much of the risk that we face is internal. Well, you know, it's like they tell me that we're divisive and so forth, and they haven't accepted the fact that they lost the election. So now, let's look at the caravan just for an example. They think that the president doesn't want the caravan, you don't want the caravan because we're racist or sexist. Not it at all. It's an issue of law. Why should we stand aside and let people break the law? What's so hard about this? We just stand aside, let them violate the law? We get all these labels thrown at us, and we love our country, and we want the best for everybody in it. We want the best for our kids and our grandkids. We want everybody to be great. We want everybody to experience the American dream. It was, you know, I'm from here, I'm from Cape Girardeau, it was, now don't take this wrong, but 50 years ago was the first time I was 16, first time I was told that I wasn't good enough to succeed in radio. Now, don't misunderstand, we're all told this. We all know how to fail. We don't need to go to the library to find books on how to fail because we all know how to do it. You'll never go to the library and find a book, Great Moderates in American History or Great Committees in American History. Donald Trump wants America to be great again, and it's not a slogan, it's an objective. And it is... I love you all too. I really, this crowd is just... I asked the president if I could speak for 30 minutes. You know, I've got a 10-minute limit here. He said no. He can't wait to come out and talk to you. It's an amazing thing that Donald Trump has done. You know, Donald Trump doesn't need any of the grief that he gets. Donald Trump doesn't need any of... Donald Trump could do and has done whatever he wants. He's one of the most successful people in America, and he doesn't need this. He doesn't need to put up with the abuse. He doesn't need to put up with the... But he does. He does because he sincerely believes that America's headed in the wrong track, and it needs to be put back on the right track. They say we're divisive. They say we're divisive. But we're not divisive. We're defending an America that is strayed from our founding. Nothing to do with race, nothing to do with gender, nothing to do with any of these identity politics labels. It has to do with culture. It has to do with protecting and defending the Constitution. It has, pure and simple. So I think it's a wonderful thing that you've come out here tonight. I could not be more honored to be part of one of these rallies. You know, the bond, folks, I'm telling you, the bond that exists between you and everybody else that's been to a Trump rally is something that politicians envy, and the people in Washington really haven't taken the time to understand why you voted for Trump. They just think you're stupid for doing so. And there's so much to learn about why you have. There's so much to learn about the potential greatness for America, to learn why you're here, why you support Trump. But they just chalk it up to the fact, well, you're not educated. Well, you're poor. Yeah, you're this or that. And you're angry. You're not angry. You love people. You want your country to be the greatest it can be. And you finally got somebody willing to help you do it. Somebody to stand up for you. Somebody to stand with you. We, are hanging by a thread. Do you realize, folks, there is nobody, I should say nobody, there are some on the Republican side who would attempt to do what the president's done. But for the most part, there's nobody who would do what Donald Trump has done. Nobody would buck the system. Nobody would take it on. If he hadn't run, who among anybody in politics could you have glommed onto to have this kind of chance to make America great again? There wasn't anybody that was actually standing for this. Everybody gets caught up in what's going on in Washington inside the establishment. You were being ignored. You weren't being listened to. You weren't being paid any attention to it. Even now, the real anger at Trump is actually aimed at you for having elected him. But he doesn't need this. He puts up with this, and thank God he does. Because he's indefatigable. The man simply doesn't get tired. He doesn't wear out. Those of you, there's somebody from Rio Linda here. Indefatigable, doesn't get tired. Just keeps going and so forth. Without any further ado, folks, thank you so much. It's been great. It's great to be here, be part of this. Raise the roof, because here he comes, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Tomorrow all the things were gone, worked for all my life, and I had to start again. Just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. There's pride in every show me heart, and it's time we stand and say I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Sing it! And I'm proud to be I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the
very much, Missouri. You are incredible, incredible people. Wow. And we never said to Rush, he's got 8 minutes. Rush can have 2 hours, 3 hours. There's nobody like him. There never has been anybody like him. I was speaking to Sean Hannity backstage. Do we love Sean, by the way? And Sean said, there is nobody like this man. And he's a real good guy. Although he's tough. He's tough. But boy, I'll tell you what, when he's on your side, there's nobody you want better. I mean, it's really great. It's really great. When he's with you. The biggest of all time at what he does. I also want to thank my good friend Lee Greenwood. How about Lee? So we were in Tennessee last night, and Lee was there. And I get that. But this was a surprise tonight. But you know, that song is one of the great songs. But when he's singing to you, like, direct, we really like that song, right? We really, and we like Lee Greenwood. And he's been with us from the beginning. He's been with us absolutely from the beginning. And while we're talking about incredible people, let's get it over with, right? So I have a few people that are right out here, and they're very special. They've done an incredible job for us. They've been with us from the beginning also. I'm going to start by saying, Sean Hannity, come on up, Sean Hannity.
By the way, all those people in the back are fake news. Mr. President, I did an opening monologue today, and I had no idea you were going to invite me up here. And the one thing that has made and defined your presidency more than anything else, promises made, promises kept. 4.5 million new American jobs, 4.3 million Americans off food stamps, 4 million Americans out of poverty, and we're not dropping cash loads of cargo planes of cash to Iranian mullahs that chant death to America. Mr. President, thank you.
Don't mean at all to insult. Look at the size of the media back there. That's a lot of people. And you do have, honestly, I see some, you have some very fine people back there, but you have some that aren't so fine. But we don't want to insult, but I have to do this also because there's a woman on Saturday night that treats us very, very well. And she does it with love and with passion for the country. Not for me. It's not a passion for me. It's a passion for the country. And I really believe it's a passion for you because we've together formed the single greatest political movement in the history of our country. She understands it. And she's understood it from day one, and she did this little show, and she was just going to do it, a little fun, and then it became this tremendous success, and she has got viewership like you wouldn't believe, and she speaks from the heart. Her opening monologue is always exciting. It's always exciting, and it's always brilliant, and she's my friend, and she's your friend, Justice Jeanine.
in the longest, strongest economic growth streak in American history? Do you like the fact that this man is the tip of the spear who goes out there every day and fights for us? If you like the America that he is making now, you've got to make sure you get out there tomorrow if you haven't voted yet. Everyone you know, your grandmother, your cousin, your kids, even your next door neighbor, if you don't like them, get them out to vote for Donald Trump and all the people who are running for the Republican Party.
We've got to have them be very careful with those stairs because she just did a great job, but we don't want her to fall going down those stairs because they will be decimated. Janine has been a great, great friend to all of us. You know that. Also, we have some terrific people that have been with us and they've worked for us and they've taken the slings, the arrows, and they're so strong, so tough, so smart. I just want to introduce somebody, and I said today twice, in Ohio, where we had a crowd like this, and outside there were thousands and thousands of people. And then we went to Indiana, where we had a crowd like this, and there were thousands and thousands of people outside. And I just want to say, there's something happening out there, folks. There's something happening out there. Now, you don't know, and I'm not on the ticket, although they want to put me on the ticket. I will say this. If we don't do so well tomorrow, they will put me on the ticket. If we do great tomorrow, they will say he had nothing to do with it. He was not on the ticket. But that's okay. We're all getting used to each other. Does that look like the Academy Awards back there? Look how many people there are. Look how many, the Academy Awards. That's the Academy Award. And you know the bad thing? We can have these massive crowds. And this is my third one today this way. You know, that's not supposed to happen. That's not. Somebody said it's not humanly possible. I said, I guess it is. But you know, these events, they say you do one a month and then you recover. And then you do another. But you don't do 3 in one day. These have been incredible. And yesterday, we were in Georgia. We had the biggest crowd you've ever seen, working for the man who hopefully will become the next governor of Georgia. He's a great, great person, and I think he's going to do very well. They had a lot of celebrities going out there, but the celebrities drew flies. They just drew flies. They didn't have much of a draw, but he's going to be fantastic. But I want to introduce a person who from day one, she was just smart, even though she's my daughter. She was just smart. No, don't worry. I'm smart also, and we're smart. Hey, you know, while I'm at, don't you love it when they talk about the elites, right? The elites. Come, honey. When they talk about the elites, I want to tell you, this is the elites. Ivanka, say a few words. Come, honey.
Hi, Missouri. We love you. We love you. So much love. And we are fighting for you every single day. This president, this administration is fighting so that all Americans can achieve the American dream, and that's what's happening. The economy is roaring, And tomorrow is about ensuring that it stays that way. So really, thank you for being out here. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your energy. It's just an amazing honor. We love you.
Be careful with those stairs, everybody. Be careful with those stairs. Now, you know, they talk about the elites. The elites. Well, I know all the elites. They're not very smart in many cases. They have a lot of hatred in their heart. I don't know about you, but many of you went to better schools than they did. We did better in the schools than they did. We have better houses, homes, boats. We do better than they do. We work harder than they do. We make more money than they do. Why are they called the elites? But let's let them be called the elites because we are the super elites. We are the super elites. We are doing well. We are doing well. There's some people out there. But you know, I said just before Sean had me on, and I said, you know what's going to bring us together? This incredible success. I think it's going to eventually, we have to get the election over with, but I think at some point, they're going to say, okay, it's time. We give in. We give in. Let's all get together. At some point, that's going to happen. But being a negotiator, I have to follow it up with this. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. So, 3 people that have helped us so incredibly. Very special women that have been unbelievable from day one. I'd like to bring up Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Pretty good. She's fantastic. That's beautiful. Wow, that's pretty good. How about letting her do the first part of my speech? Good idea? Also, Kellyanne Conway. And a woman who was involved very early on. We had the great state of Michigan. It hadn't been won in many, many years by a Republican. It was said to be unwinnable. I was told, don't even contend for Michigan. And then I met a woman who had a lot of drive and a lot of energy. And she said, I'd love to run Michigan. I said, I heard it was unattainable. She said, they love you in Michigan, and they want their car industry back because their industry was taken to Mexico and Canada and other places, and you don't like that. And you don't like that. No, I don't. And by the way, it's all coming back, folks. You see what's happening. It's all coming back. It's all coming back. And she worked so hard. And that beautiful evening in November when they started counting the ballots. And we won Florida. And we won South Carolina and North Carolina and Pennsylvania. And we did win Indiana, that's for sure. And we won Ohio, remember? Remember they used to say, you cannot win unless you win the great state of Ohio. We won Ohio very easily. And Bob Paduchek, who ran that campaign, is here. We love Ohio. Those are incredible people. But what happened was a surprise, because in the midst of all, they said, and Donald Trump has just won the state of, before Michigan, Wisconsin. And everyone go, whoa, 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 right? They said, whoa, what's this? What's this? That one was, I mean, not, where did that come from? But we've done a great job, and they're great people. And we opened it up for the dairy farmers in Wisconsin. We opened up Canada with our New Deal for the first time. They like us. Great deal. But then it said, and we're running a string. And this is when they started getting extremely nervous. And a very nice guy named John King for CNN. You know, he has the board, the red board. And his hand is like starting to shake. Well, because that board had so much red on it, they've never seen anything like it. They didn't know what was happening. Right? That board was red. That board was red. I remember when North Carolina, great state, incredible people, incredible. And the opponent, let's be nice, the opponent said very strongly in the straw that is their firewall. They cannot lose that. They have it made, except for one problem. Donald Trump won the state of North Carolina. Won the state. But then out of the blue, they said, you know, there was some crying, you know. These people are very fair. They're crying, okay? And they're not crying out of happiness, that I could understand. They're crying out of despair. But then out of the blue, he was saying to himself, we got a problem here. Because Donald Trump has just won the great state of Michigan. And that was the ball game, folks. That was the ball game. Wisconsin, Michigan. It was that one of the greatest evenings of all time? And you know, that was every network, every cable station, everything, everybody. Look at them all back there. Oh, they're loving this. They're loving this every once in a while. Don't worry, I'm not going to mention CNN's name. I'm not going to watch it. I won't mention NBC or ABC or CBS. I'm not going to mention. I'm not going to mention that you treat us very unfairly. But I think they're getting tired of it. You know why? Because we keep winning. It's driving them crazy. It's driving them crazy. So anyway, you're right, USA, nothing like it. Made in the USA. That's happening. They're all moving back, folks. Those companies are all moving back. So this young woman was incredible. And I said, you know, that woman that did such a good job for all of us in Michigan, I think we have to move her to Washington, D.C. to run the Republican National Committee. And she's been there ever since, and she has done a fantastic job. Ronna McDaniel. Come up, Ronna. And she actually is very good on television, too. Just say a couple of quick ones.
You guys already heard it. The president was in Michigan the night before we won in 2016. He's in Missouri tonight. You need to deliver a win.
Thank you, folks. That's great. Great job. Great job. What a group. I always said that women are smarter than men. Sorry, men, but we understand it, right? Men, do we understand it? No, these are great people. They're great people, and they're our friends, and they work hard for us, and they could be doing other things, but they love what they're doing. They love what we're accomplishing. And tomorrow, the people of Missouri are going to send Josh Hawley to the United States Senate to keep America's economic boom going full speed ahead. In less than 2 years' time, we have accomplished more than anyone could have ever imagined. We are so far ahead of schedule. If I ever said what we've done along the campaign trail, they would have never, ever let it happen. They would have gone out and said, he's exaggerating. Except for one problem. We've done far more than we ever said we could do. And America's extraordinary comeback is the envy of the entire world. The whole world is talking about it. We're the hottest nation in the world. We're the hottest. And I have great respect for China, and President Xi's a friend of mine. Although he doesn't like me as much lately, but that's okay. He'll be back. But he said he'll have to get over it. Only a person from Missouri could say that. Who said that? No, we're doing well, and we're doing well with everything, frankly. But I will say we have to get out tomorrow, and we have to elect a Republican Congress. We have to do it. We've got to stop Brian Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi from erasing everything that we've gained. Our economy is setting records on a daily basis. There is no place I would rather be for the last stop of this campaign than right here in Missouri with the incredible men and women who make our country run. This is my last stop. Thank you. You know, we're changing the slogan. It's Make America Great Again. Greatest slogan of all time. Greatest slogan. But you know what? We can't use it for the second four, right? Because, like, they'd say, well, I thought you were going to make it great. What are you doing using it again? So our new slogan will be in another year, Keep America Great. Keep America great. That's true. Because the wrong people follow us in office, it can all be gone. All of those 401ks where your wife or your husband thinks you're a super genius, a great financial genius, because you're up 51%, you're up 60%, you're up 42%. My husband's a genius, but for their whole marriage of 20 years, she was screaming at him, cursing at him, saying, you don't know what the hell you're doing. Now all of a sudden, he's a genius. You're looking very good. You're looking very good. But I have to say, so this is my last stop, right? I told you. Left Ohio. Left Georgia yesterday. Left all these great states. Montana. Big sky, big sky. We left all of these great states. We covered a lot of territory. My last stop is here. I think for one reason, and I have to say it, because this is the home of Rush Limbaugh. And David Limbaugh. David, thank you. David. Thank you, David. Great lawyer. I hear David's a great lawyer, right, David? David told me. No, but Sean told me. Everybody tells me. Thank you, David. But this is the home of Rush, and what he did today was fantastic, because he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. This is his home. He loves Missouri, and it's very important. Also, this is the place that Josh is running. Josh is a young, incredible guy with tremendous talent. He will serve this country so well. He will represent Missouri so well. And he's actually leading. He's actually leading. He's actually leading. For decades, Washington only served the powerful and the well-connected. Those days are over. Together, we are the voice for every citizen who has ever been overlooked, abandoned, neglected, ignored. You remember the word, the deplorables. Oh, that was a good speech. I don't know, did the speechwriter for the deplorable speech, did that person get fired immediately or the following week? Wow, did he give us a great gift. But the deplorables are the greatest people on earth. They're the smartest. Is there a doctor in the house, please? Doctor? Doctor, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Take your time. Doctor, take your time. We have plenty of time, right? Thank you, doctor. Take your time, doctor. Thank you. That's fine. Take your time. Don't rush it. That's one of our great people right there. Take your time. That's good. Say a little prayer. Take your time, take your time. Relax, take your time. Thank you. We've got plenty of time, right? Something I want to just thank everybody for the way you behaved. That was beautiful, and that at the end was beautiful. Amazing Grace, thank you very much. That was beautiful. Hopefully she'll be okay. Hopefully she'll be okay. I want to just say that tomorrow's so important. Josh Hawley is an amazing fighter. We need to keep this jobs boom going. We need to keep our country going the way it is. You saw what was announced on Friday. Friday was incredible. It was incredible. The jobs numbers, last month alone, we added 250,000 brand new jobs. The unemployment rate is at its lowest level in more than 50 years. We've created 4.5 million new jobs since Election Day, and we have lifted 4.3 million Americans off of food stamps. African American, Hispanic American, and Asian American unemployment have all reached their lowest levels in history. We have brought African American and Hispanic American poverty levels to their lowest point ever recorded. There has never been a better time for the American worker. We passed a massive tax cut for Missouri workers and for the United States. And we will soon follow it up with another 10% tax cut for the middle class. And to protect your rights and your freedoms, we overcame the Democrat smear campaign and confirmed the newest member of the United States Supreme Court, Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And you saw what happened on Friday also. We had great jobs numbers, but we also had something else. The accuser of Brett Kavanaugh, a man who is a fine man, the accuser admitted she never met him, she never saw him, he never touched her, talked to her, he had nothing to do with her. She made up the story. It was false accusations. It was a scam. It was fake. It was all fake. And you know, when that came about, people were calling for him to immediately get out. Think of that. Think if he would have done that, and then we found out that it was all false accusations, false statements. A made-up story. And let's look at the rest of them, please. Let's look at the rest of them. Because that man suffered. You know, when I decided it was going to be him, and it was early, because honestly, for 10 years I've been hearing about a man named Judge Brett Kavanaugh. I've been hearing about it for a long time. And they all said he's fantastic. Intellectually, he's a great scholar. And he will someday be on the Supreme Court. Now, that was 10 years ago. Can you believe it? And little did I think I'd be the one appointing him. But I'll never forget, Rush. I'll never forget this, Rush. I brought him to the White House. And I said, Judge, then Judge, now Justice. I said, Judge Kavanaugh, I want to congratulate you. I'm choosing you to serve on the United States Supreme Court. And he said, this is the greatest honor of my life. I would like to thank you, Mr. President. Then I said, Judge, by the way, just so you know, this is going to go so quick. This is going to be so easy. You have led such an incredible, exemplary life. This is going to go so fast. No problem. And then it began. And then it began. And he hung in there. And I hung in there too, by the way. I hung in there too. False accusations. False accusations. They want to ruin a man or a woman. Ruin a man. And it was headed up all by the Democrats. All by the Democrats. Right? All by the Democrats. Dianne Feinstein with Did You Leak? A great, brave soldier from Vietnam, except he never saw Vietnam. Da Nang Dick, you know, Da Nang. He's from Da Nang. We charged up the hill. Soldiers were falling left and right. But I was protecting them. I was there. Except he never saw Vietnam. And then he gets up and he says, we demand honesty. We demand the truth. Can you believe this? This could only happen to us. This could only happen to us. In any event, we energized the Republican Party with that. The Democrats overplayed their hand, just as they overplay their hand with a lot of things. They overplayed their hand, like the Russia nonsense. Russia did it. It was Russia. They used it as an excuse by the Democrats for losing an election that they should have won because they have a big advantage in the Electoral College. Remember, they used to say, there is no way for Donald Trump to get 270. And they were right. We got 306. They were right. We got 306. They use that as an excuse, and they always overplay their hand. Got some bad people, and you have some good people over there too, I have to be honest. But you got some bad people. The contrast in this election could not be more clear. Democrats produce mobs. That's what's happened. Republicans produce jobs. We are proudly joined by many terrific Missouri Republicans, including tonight, your great governor, has done a fantastic job, Mike Parson. Mike? And Mrs. Parson, great job. Great job. Thank you. Thank you. Great job, Mike. And members of Congress, one of them stopped Washington about 3 weeks ago when he started doing his little auction deal, right? Billy. Does anybody know Billy Long? I have never heard an auctioneer so good. I've never heard an auctioneer as good, but he's a great congressman, more importantly, and he loves the people of this state, and he loves your state. Billy Long, congressman. Billy. Yeah, great guy. Did everybody see that a month ago? He started doing the auction thing. Everybody And these were hardened political people. They've heard it all. And they just stopped in their tracks. They said, what the hell is that? And it was our friend Billy. It was amazing. And another congressman from Missouri, always there for us, just like Billy. Somebody that's been there for the tax cuts, and there for regulation, and there for right to try, right to try. You know what right to try is? Big thing, big deal. It's a big deal. And he was there along with some really great people in the Republican Party to take care of our vets, to give them choice for the first time in 44 years. They've been trying for 44 years. Congressman Jason Smith. Thank you, Jason. If you don't want to be saying the words, Speaker of the House Pelosi, for the next 2 years, get out and vote for Billy and Jason. They don't really need your vote, but get out and do it anyway because, wow, that would be a story. We don't want to be complacent. We don't want to be there. Great people, so get out and vote for your congressmen and women. Tomorrow, the people of Missouri are going to elect a truly outstanding new senator. Josh Hawley will be a tireless champion for the great people of Missouri. He is great on jobs. He is great on cutting taxes. And there is nobody tougher on crime. He shares your values, and he will always support our military, our vets, and our great law enforcement. Josh is running against an extreme liberal Democrat named Claire McCaskill. She got lucky the last time. She got lucky the last time. She was way down the last time, and somebody running, it didn't look too good. She got a little bit, she got a pass, let's put it that way. She got a pass. It was a sad thing that happened. That whole thing was a sad thing in many ways. Anyway, she got in. And now Josh is actually up slightly in the polls. Just came out. But she was going down. And then she said, the Democrats are crazy. And I said, that's genius for getting elected. I give her credit for that. She's taking a lot of heat, but she'll patch it up over one lunch a day after the election. If she wins, but I hope that's not going to. If she doesn't win, then she's going to have long-term trouble. But she said, the Democrats are crazy. And then she said, and I agree with our president on border security. I agree. All of a sudden, she agrees with me. I'm in office for almost 2 years. All of a sudden, she's agreeing. Look, folks, just so you understand, so the election's tomorrow, Tuesday. On Wednesday, she will no longer agree with me on border security. No longer. No longer. A vote for Clara McCaskill is a vote for Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and the legendary Maxine Waters. And more important, it's a vote for their horrible socialist agenda. Claire McCaskill will be a disaster for jobs, for your families, for your state. And again, on Wednesday, she will no longer remember anything she said, and she will never, ever vote for us on the big things where we need her vote. Ever. Just like she didn't vote for Judge Kavanaugh. She's not going to vote for us. And that's the way it is. It's very simple. And while I very much appreciate her great support out of nowhere along the border, it disappears on Wednesday morning. Claire voted against middle-class tax cuts. She voted against Neil Gorsuch. And Claire joined the Democrat mob in voting against Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Claire McCaskill has one of the most open border voting records in all of Congress. Claire McCaskill voted no on Kate's Law, and she voted no on enhanced vetting for refugees. Let's just let them in, let them in, let them in. And Claire voted in favor of deadly sanctuary cities. She would rather protect criminal aliens than American citizens, which is why she needs to be voted out of office tomorrow, please. If you want jobs and if you want safety, you have only one choice. A young, talented man who's going to be, I tell you, I really believe this, he's going to go down as one of our great senators, Josh Hawley. Josh, come on up, Josh.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Isn't it incredible to have President Donald Trump in Southeast Missouri? You know, Senator Claire McCaskill said that she could give up a few votes in the Boot Hill. Did you hear that? I bet she regrets it now. President Trump won the state of Missouri by 20 points. How about that? 20 points. And he has delivered for this state. But you know, you would think with a record like the president's that the career politicians in Washington, D.C. would get the message, but Claire McCaskill sure hasn't. She hasn't heard a word you said in 2016. President Trump has been fighting to put pro-Constitution, pro-America judges on the bench like Brett Kavanaugh. But Claire McCaskill voted no. President Trump is securing our border. But Claire McCaskill is sponsoring the most radical open borders bill in the history of the United States Congress. She voted for amnesty. She voted for amnesty. She has called the border wall embarrassing. That's her word. And she's mocked the president for wanting to have it. Does that represent us? I don't think so. President Trump lowered your taxes, but Claire McCaskill voted no. She's voted to raise your taxes over 200 times, and President Trump has fought to roll back regulations on our family farms and family businesses like the Waters of the United States rule. It's gone because of him. But Claire McCaskill voted for every far-left environmentalist regulation the Obama administration could dream of. She even voted to keep the Waters of the United States rule. But you know, I have to say, I mean, maybe Senator McCaskill's record shouldn't be such a surprise, because she did say that she thought the reason President Trump got elected was because of the Russians. That's what she said. She told a journalist that, because of the Russians. What she doesn't realize is President Trump got elected because of the Missourians. And we're going to re-elect him. You know, the more, that's right. That's right. You know, the more I listen to Claire McCaskill, the more she reminds me of another career politician that President Trump defeated in 2016. The person that Claire McCaskill thought should be president. Do you know what I'm talking about? Hillary Rodham Clinton. Yeah. Amazing. Senator McCaskill has spent a lifetime in politics, just like Hillary. Senator McCaskill has made a boatload in federal money, just like Hillary. Senator McCaskill voted for amnesty, just like Hillary. Senator McCaskill is for open borders, just like Hillary. Senator McCaskill is for activist liberal judges, just like Hillary. Senator McCaskill even has a phony foundation that makes millions of dollars a year and pays nothing in taxes, just like Hillary. Tell you what, Senator McCaskill said that we all ought to call Hillary Madam President. Well, tomorrow, we're going to call Senator McCaskill fired. Thank you very much. God bless you.
That's great. So everybody get out and vote for Josh Hawley tomorrow. So important. He will be one of the leaders of the Senate in a short period of time. He's a very special person, and he will never, ever let you down. I know that about him. If Democrats gain power on Tuesday, one of their very first projects will be a socialist takeover of American health care. You know what's happening, and your taxes are going to triple, maybe quadruple. You're not going to be happy. I know you well. The Democrat plan would obliterate Obamacare. It will also, which is good, but leave the bad parts behind. It will destroy Medicare. And by the way, did you notice we got rid of the individual mandate in Obamacare? Right? Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about the individual mandate, most unpopular thing, and it's going to be gone. Soon Obamacare will be gone. We actually had it. We missed one vote. One vote! One vote! That was a little bit of a surprise to us at 2 o'clock in the morning. One vote. But we didn't get any Democrat votes. If Claire McCaskill, we would have repealed it and replaced it. But essentially, it's being obliterated anyway, and it's going to be, you're going to have great, great advantage.
Holy hell, what just happened? Oh, that must be the end of the thing. No? Problem with their feed. All right. It was
Medicare for our great seniors who earned it and who, by the way, have paid for it. You know that, right? You know that. And Republicans will always protect patients with pre-existing conditions, always. We are protecting patients. The Democrats' plan to destroy health care also includes raiding Medicare to fund benefits for illegal immigrants. Somehow that doesn't work well in Missouri. It's a common sense people, by the way. You know, it's all about common sense. You know that. They say, are you a conservative? I say, yeah, I'm conservative. But you know what it's common sense. Most of it's all common sense, folks. It's common sense. You know what it's called? It's called we have to do what's right. We have to have borders. Without borders, we don't have a country. We have to do what's right. We can't let foreign nations take advantage of us. They've been taken for years and years, taking advantage of us. We can't allow it to happen. It's not going to happen anymore. We can't protect rich nations, really, really successful rich nations. We protect them, and they don't pay us for the protection, or they pay us a small fraction. It's not fair. And I tell them, sorry, it's not fair, and we're working it out. You're talking about a lot of money. You're talking about a lot of money. As we speak, Democrats are openly encouraging millions of illegal aliens to break our laws and violate our borders. And they want to sign them up for free welfare, free health care, free education, and most importantly, they want to give them the right to vote. I can't imagine why. Democrats' immigration policies are extreme, dangerous, reckless, and insane. They support catch and release. They want to free criminal aliens. They want no protections for American workers and taxpayers, and they want totally open borders, which means crime will pour into our country. Illegal immigration costs our country more than $100 billion every year, and that's more than the budgets of Missouri, Indiana, and Wisconsin combined. I mentioned those places. You know why? Because we have very important races in those places, and we have all these Academy Award type cameras going back there. We want to win in those places too. A nation ought to take care of its own citizens first. Nearly 100% of the heroin in the United States enters through the southern border, along with roughly 90% of cocaine, the majority of meth, and a substantial portion of deadly fentanyl. These drugs kill more than 70,000 Americans a year and destroy the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. Last year alone, our brave ICE officers arrested more than 127,000 illegal aliens. And they had criminal records, including those charged or convicted of approximately 48,000 assaults, 12,000 sex crimes, and 1,800 homicides. But despite that, the Democrats want to abolish ICE. They want to abolish ICE. They want America to be a giant sanctuary city for gang members and MS-13 killers. Republicans believe America should be a sanctuary for law-abiding Americans, not criminal aliens. Right? We will always stand for the heroes of ICE, Border Patrol, and law enforcement. And by the way, I met a lot of your law enforcement back there. You have great law enforcement police in Missouri. They're great people. Among the most underappreciated people in this country, law enforcement. Among the most dangerous, tough. It's a tough job, but they are great people and they love our country. This election is about security, and this election is about prosperity. For years you watched as we let foreign countries plunder our wealth, shutter our factories, and steal our jobs. No more, Missouri, no more. Not going to happen. America is respected again. We are respected. We have added 500,000 new manufacturing jobs since the election. Last month alone, we added another 32,000 manufacturing jobs. That's 1,000 new manufacturing jobs every single day, and the previous administrations said it could not be done. And those are among our best jobs. I recently announced that we are replacing the horrible NAFTA deal with an incredible brand new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement that everybody is for. The USMCA is a giant victory for Missouri farmers, factory workers, and dairy producers. And the other thing I did, and I'll just mention, for those of you that love your children, does anybody love your children in the audience? For those of you that love your children and you want to leave your small farm or your ranch or anything you have, including a small business, to your children, you now have no death tax to pay. You now have no estate tax to pay. So if you don't love your children, or if your children treat you badly, and you have no intention of leaving your farm or your other valuables, to your children, because your children are just no good, then just forget what I just said, because it's not going to help you. But if you want to leave them that farm and you pass, and what happens is they go out and they have to borrow and they mortgage it to the hilt. It's called mortgaging the farm. You know, it's an expression. You got to mortgage the farm. They mortgage the farm to pay the estate taxes, or death taxes as it's called. They don't have to do that anymore. They don't have to do that anymore. It's gone. That's a big thing. And the Democrats fought us on that one too, but we got it by. We have taken historic action to bring back American jobs by cracking down on China's abusive trade practices. And we're doing very well. We're doing very well. We're doing very, very well. We're taking in billions and billions of dollars in taxes from things that are sold to us, and China wants to make a deal, and that's fine with me. After years of rebuilding other countries, we are finally rebuilding our country, and we are doing it with American iron, American aluminum, and American steel. And thanks to our beautifully placed tariffs and very tough trade policies, America's steel and aluminum mills are roaring back to life like nobody has ever seen. Right here in Missouri, a company named Magnitude 7 Metals. Whoa, whoa, that's good. Well, that I didn't expect. That's nice. You like that company, don't you? Is reopening an aluminum smelter and creating 450 brand new jobs. It would never have happened. Every day it's promises made, promises kept. We have also taken bold action to reduce the price of prescription drugs. Happening. I called up Pfizer. I called up Novartis. And they were great. They rolled back their prices. That's when I realized how powerful this office is. When you can get the drug companies to roll back their increases back to where they were. And I appreciate the fact that they did it. And we have just offered a new affordable health care plan in Missouri that costs 71% less than the horrible Obamacare disaster. And there's more coming. We passed Veterans' Choice, giving our veterans the right to see a private doctor rather than waiting online for weeks and months to see a doctor. For 44 years they tried to pass it. And I came up with that idea, and I thought it was brilliant. And I went back to my people and said, you know what we'll do? There's no way there's so many people in line. It takes months and months. I said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have those people get offline, go outside, see a doctor, and we'll pay for the doctor. I said, I'm so smart. I am the most brilliant human being that has ever lived. And I went to my people, and I said, do this. Do it. They said, sir, we've been trying to get it passed for about 44 years. I said, oh. So it wasn't my idea. But you know what? I'm the only one that got it passed. That's even tougher. That's even tougher. That's even tougher. And we also got passed the landmark VA accountability law to ensure anyone who mistreats our great veterans will be held accountable. We will look at them and we will say, Jim, you're fired. Get out of here. Get out. Get out. Get out of here. We secured $700 billion and $716 billion to fully rebuild the United States military, which had become so depleted. And we buy everything right here in the good old USA. Best. We make the best ships, the best submarines. We make the best rockets and missiles. We make the best jet fighters and bombers and tankers. We make the best tanks. We make the best everything. All here. And we gave our great warriors their largest pay raise in more than a decade. And at my direction, the Pentagon is now working to create the sixth branch of the American Armed Forces called the Space Force. The Space. Very necessary. And I withdrew the United States from the horrible, one-sided Iran nuclear deal. It was a disaster. And if you haven't noticed, Iran is a much different country right now, but let's see what happens. We have recognized the capital of Israel and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. Every other president, practically, going back many years, every other president promised it, and they never had the courage, or whatever it is, to get it done. And I know why, because everybody started calling, just like they did me. They'd call and call. When I realized what they were all calling about, I said, tell them I'll call them back in a week. Now, I was going to sign it in 4 days. So when I called them back, I said, Mr. King, Mr. Queen, Mr. whatever. I said, listen, Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, what is it? Well, we wanted to talk to you about Israel and Jerusalem, but you've already done it. I said, oh, gee, I wish you got to me sooner. Because the calls were like from everybody. So I understand why other presidents didn't do it. But we did it, and that's a big thing. Together we have made extraordinary progress, and we are just getting started. This is the greatest political movement in the history of our country, what you've done. The greatest. History of our country. 2 years ago, we shocked the Washington establishment and stunned the world. The entire world was stunned. We weren't stunned. We knew what was happening. We knew. When we defied the pundits and the critics and rejected the failures of the corrupt status quo and elected a government that finally puts America first. Every day, every single day, since every day, the failed old ruling class have been trying so hard. Oh, so hard. Wouldn't you think they'd like low taxes, strong military, nice borders, good schools, good health care, we'll get it done, good everything? They don't want that. They want to claw their way back into power. That's what they want. Because how can they be opposed to the strongest economy we've ever had? How can they be opposed to the greatest unemployment numbers in the history of our country, including for African Americans, Asians, and Hispanic Americans? How can they be opposed? There's got to be something else on their mind. Oh, I'm going to love that debate when I say we have the strongest economy in history, and the person over there is going to say why they should do better. Why they should do better. This is the same corrupt crew that chipped away your jobs, stole your wealth, and lined their pockets at your expense. You know that's what happened. Our opponents have been on a relentless campaign to obstruct, resist, demolish, defame, and destroy. Other than that, they're extremely nice. But you can stop them with your votes tomorrow. Got to get out there. Josh! Our movement is America's movement. You are moms and dads, sons and daughters, students and workers, farmers and soldiers. You follow our laws, give back to our communities, and raise your children to be strong, upstanding citizens. You are loyal and faithful to your country. You love your country. And now finally, you have a government and you have a president that is loyal and faithful to you. Right? For years you watched as your leaders apologized for America. Now you have a president who is standing up for America. We are standing up for your values. We are standing up for Missouri. And we are proudly standing up for our great national anthem. I am asking every citizen, from every party, every background, every race, color, and creed, to reject the Democrat politics of anger, division, destruction, and to unite behind our proud, noble, and righteous destiny as Americans. That's what it is. I need you to get your family, get your friends, get your neighbors, get your co-workers, and go out and vote for Republican Congress, for Republican Senate. Go out and vote Republican tomorrow. This Tuesday, wait a minute here. This Tuesday in 15 minutes. We're almost into Tuesday. In fact, go home and sleep. Get up early and vote. I need the people of Missouri to seize this incredible moment in history by electing the great, and he will be someday, the great Josh Hawley as your next senator. Devoted citizen like you, all citizens like you, help build this country. And together we are taking back our country and returning power to the American people. That's what happened. Greatest movement in history. This incredible state was built by tough frontier men and strong pioneer women who braved the wilderness to build a life and home with their own two hands. They didn't have a lot of money. They didn't have a lot of luxury. But they all had one thing in common. They loved their families, they loved their country, and they loved their God. These courageous Americans did not shed their blood, sweat, and tears so that we could sit at home while others tried to erase their legacy, tear down our history, and destroy our proud and great American heritage. From the boot heel of Missouri to the beautiful big sky of Montana, from the deserts of Nevada to the Everglades of Florida, from the coal mines of West Virginia to the steel mills of Indiana, and for every family in every city and town all across our land. We are going to work, we are going to fight, and we are going to win, 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 and not stop winning. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never, ever back down. We will never surrender. And we will always fight on to victory. Because we are Americans, and our hearts bleed red, white, and blue. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together, with love in our hearts and hope in our souls, we will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Missouri. Thank you.
Well, would you looky there? That's 5. One more, it's over. We only need to take 6 seats from them. If we hold what we had and get 6 seats, they don't have a chance. They're done. Ohio rolls red and sneezes. Well, that was a little dark, Claude, but okay. Calling the house blue. Yeah, bullshit indeed, man. All right, good night, Choco Loco. We'll see you next time. Take care, lady. What? So anyway, check this out.
Mors et vita duello, conflixerent mirando, dux vitae mortuus regnat futur.
In this year, dire portents appeared over Northumbria and sorely frightened the people. They consisted of immense whirlwinds and flashes of lightning, and fiery dragons were seen flying in the air.
A scribe records that in the year 793, marauders from the north crossed the sea to England and shattered the peace. Pagans in search of treasure, they surprised the defenseless monastery of Lindisfarne. For Christian Europe, the blackest hour of the Dark Ages was about to strike.
They came to the church, laid everything waste with grievous plundering, trampled the holy places with polluted feet, dug up the altars and seized the treasures. They killed some of the brothers, some they took away with them in fetters, and some they drowned in the sea.
For 300 years, the sight of a Viking longship made Europe tremble, for it carried a fearsome crew. the greatest sailors of their day and the fiercest warriors. From the lands now called Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, young men sought their fortune at sea. Some went in peace to settle new lands. Some went to trade. Some to plunder. In their sagas, Norse poets recorded and embellished the exploits of these seafaring warriors. Men like Olaf the Stout, Ivar the Boneless, Eric Bloodaxe, and Thorfinn the Skull Splitter. And an especially cruel Viking called Egil Skallagrimsson, whose exploits have been handed down across 1,000 years. Egil's father was from Norway, but having backed the wrong side in a dispute, he had been forced to flee to Iceland.
There was plenty of driftwood to be had, so Egil's father built and ran a farm, from where his men went out fishing and seal hunting and collecting the eggs of wildfowl.
Egil was born around 900 AD and raised in a small village. Just a few huts and longhouses. With his family, he lived in one or two windowless rooms, the air hazy with smoke, the walls blackened with soot. An Arab trader from a more civilized land was shocked by some of the Viking customs he witnessed.
Anyone who slaughters an animal by way of sacrifice has a pole outside his house and hangs the sacrificed animal there. I have never heard such horrible singing. It's like a growl coming out of their throats, like the barking of dogs, only much more beastly. If a weak child is born there, it's thrown into the sea to say bringing it up.
Egil was by no means a weak child. Like other boys, he played at war and watched in awe as his elder brothers and his father went off each spring to adventures Egil could only imagine and envy.
It soon became obvious that Egil was going to be just as black-haired and ugly as his father. By the time he was 3 years old, he was as big and strong as a boy of 6 or 7 years. When it came to playing with the other lads, he was a hard one to handle.
The saga records that at the age of 6, Egil lost a competition to a boy called Grim. The humiliation was unbearable.
He ran up to Grim and drove the axe into his head right through to the brain. His mother said that Egil had the makings of a real Viking, and it was obvious that as soon as he was old enough, he ought to be given fighting ships.
In Egil's time, Christianity had not yet worked its way up the fjords of the Norse lands. The Vikings still worshipped a pantheon of gods. Thor rode with the thunder in the sky, and Freya brought fertility to the land. These deities would prove immortal in the form of Thursday and Friday. Warriors charged into battle, shielded by Odin, god of war. A Viking who died on the field joined the fallen heroes before him in Valhalla, a feasting hall of the other world. There he would celebrate his deeds on earth until the day when he would fight and die alongside the gods in mankind's final battle. His destiny already ordained, Egil spent his childhood wrestling, dueling, and hunting, perfecting the makings of a real Viking. Egil impatiently awaited the first sign of spring and the chance to go to sea in a longship and go raiding. An elder brother owned such a ship. When he began to recruit men from the villages, Egil joined him.
In spring, they started preparing a big longship, and as soon as everyone was ready, off they went.
The skill of every warrior would be tested anew in the months at sea. Young Egil himself was embarking on a voyage that would change his life. The word Viking means men of the inlet. As boat builders, these men were unrivaled. By late in the 8th century, when the Vikings swept down upon the monks at Lindisfarne, the Scandinavians had developed a craft that would change history. Whether 60 feet long or 120, a warship's keel was carved from the stout trunk of a single oak. With a broad hull and a shallow draft, such ships penetrated far upriver and could be beached almost anywhere. Water, usually a barrier that kept enemies at bay, became for the Vikings a highway to invasion. To them, their vessel was a creature unto itself. They gave it names like Long Serpent and Raven of the Wind. Christian monks indeed saw snakes and dragons flying through the air. Overlapping planks of oak or pine were nailed, pinned, or lashed to the hull. The planks were caulked with tarred animal hair. In rough seas or rainstorms, the ships remained watertight. Under sail, these ships could make 10 knots. Against the swift longship, there was no defense, for the Vikings had mastered not only the element of water, but of surprise. A French monk lamented,
"The Vikings overrun all that lies before them, and none can withstand them."
Before long, Egil had risen to command his own ship.
Once it was manned, they went plundering that summer in the Baltic.
During long stretches at sea, Egil and his crew would pass the time playing board games, such as Capture the King. In their sea chests, the men also carried a number of personal items, not the least their combs.
English women appreciated the Nordic men because they combed their hair, washed every Saturday, and changed clothes often.
After making many raids and winning a great deal of loot, Egil sailed into the Baltic to Courland, in what is now Latvia. For 2 weeks, he and his shipmates traded peacefully. Just as suddenly, Egil changed tack and sailed away to resume plundering.
One day, Egil and his comrades put in near a large estuary that lay beneath a vast area of forest. They decided to go ashore and divide into groups, each of them 12 strong.
The men took up their weapons and headed inland. Egil carried an iron sword more than 3 feet long called Adder, a sleek serpent that unleashed death whenever it struck. It was light enough to wield in one hand, but strong enough that it would not shatter against a shield. Like most Vikings, Egil prized this weapon above all others. Some swords were thought magical, made by dwarves, or bestowed by Odin, god of war. In poetry, the blade was celebrated as the fire of battle and the lightning flash of blood. The poorer members of Egil's crew carried a short battle axe, simple but deadly.
He swung his axe and crashed down on Thrain's head, splitting it down to the jaws and spilling his back teeth onto the ice.
Warriors who could afford to wore an iron helmet, which, despite legend, was never horned. The wealthy girded themselves with mail, made of thousands of interlocking links. And every warrior carried a round wooden shield. The most feared Vikings, even amongst their own comrades, were the legendary berserkers, or bearskins. Named for the bear or wolf skins they wore, these men were endowed with gifts from the gods, powers thought to blunt swords and stop the flight of javelins. From these fanatical warriors, we have the word berserk.
Egil had walked through the forest with his 12 men. Not far away was a farmstead, so they made for it. And on reaching it, they charged into the building. I've borne the blood-stained sword and bitter spear shaft, the raven at my right hand. As we raiders strove forward, burning for battle, we made their barns blaze. Gory at their gates groaned those fast sleepers.
The slumbering farmers were killed in their beds, their possessions looted.
Each man gathered his own load and carried it out. Egil picked up a big jewel case, and with that under his arm, he went with his men towards the wood.
Egil's ship continued on its trail of terror.
Late in the summer, they sailed for Denmark to lie in wait for trading vessels and plunder wherever they could.
So it went, stealing treasures of silver and gold from helpless monasteries and taking slaves from coastal villages. But having amassed great wealth, Viking raiders sometimes chose not to fight, but trade. Treasure and slaves could be bartered for Mediterranean wines, Eastern spices, and Persian leather.
Their most valuable ornaments are ceramic beads, which are kept on the ships. They bargain for them, put them on a chain, and give them to their women as necklaces.
As traders and seafarers, the Vikings left their mark throughout Europe. Russia owes its name to Norse traders called Rus. Normandy, too, was settled by the men from the north. Settlements abroad grew. Vikings brought their families from across the sea and created towns like Kiev and Dublin. Journeying far to the east, Viking mercenaries formed a bodyguard to the Christian emperor of Byzantium. Inside the Hagia Sophia Mosque in Istanbul, a bit of graffiti proclaims, "Halfdan was here." Most daring of all, the Vikings are believed the first Europeans to have crossed the Atlantic, predating Columbus by 500 years. For Egil, the spoils of battle were plenty: silver, gold, and slaves. But rather than savoring his plunder, he was lured back to sea by the thrill of the raid. As generations of Vikings descended upon the coast of Europe, their reputation spread far inland. When the King of Scotland declared war against the King of England, England's Athelstan sought help from the very Norsemen who had raided his shores. One of his mercenaries was Egil. Because England was a Christian country, Egil first had to be baptized. Then, with 360 fellow Vikings under his command, he joined the English king. Athelstan challenged his opponent to a pitched battle.
It was the custom in those days that once a field of battle had been declared for a king, he could not honorably wage war until the battle had been fought.
At the appointed time, both armies engaged.
Egil marched ahead, urging them forward and brandishing the sword adder, striding in front and hewing men down left and right. He led the men into the thick of the battle, pressing forward.
Egil recorded such battles in poetry.
The warlord weaves his web of fear. Each man receives his fated share. A blood-red sun's the warrior's shield. The eagle scans the battlefield. Then Egil and his troops caused utter havoc by attacking the Scottish king's unguarded flank. The whole column gave way and began to disintegrate, and the Vikings raised the cry of victory.
Toward the end of Egil's life, the Vikings once more came to England. Not in a single longship, but in fleets of almost 100. Not to aid the king, but to conquer his lands. For this race of warriors, death came early through disease or battle. The warrior would be buried with his weapons and perhaps a prize horse or a favored slave girl. His grave would be outlined by stones in the shape of a longship, the vessel that would carry him to the next world. A few might be honored with a monument alongside a footpath. Large stones, marked with inscriptions, would proclaim their deeds. The greatest warriors received the highest honor of all, a boat burial, provisioned with riches for the journey to Valhalla. For Egil, death came slowly.
I flounder by the fireside, ask females for mercy. Time passes tediously. I tarry here alone, an old, senile elder.
For the Viking way of life, too, death came at last. Old victims had grown strong, and old enemies had become friends. The Norsemen in Normandy, even the Danes in Denmark, would become strangers to men like Egil. By the 12th century, Christian Europe had quietly absorbed this race of warriors. With the passing of the Vikings, no more would dragons be seen flying in the sky. No more would good Christians have need to whisper their prayer of 300 years. From the fury of the Northmen, good Lord, deliver us.
Yeah, Claude says, I want to go with my slave girl. Somehow the fact that you have a slave girl doesn't overly surprise me. Right on, man. Getting your shit together, Dallas. Here, let's check this shit out. And now it's time for Deep Thoughts. You know that time when you're in the kitchen trying to make a sandwich and your mother-in-law, who's been in your house for 6 days too long, is in your way, and all you want is the mustard? Well, don't worry about it. You can pitch the old bag into the basement. Let's face it, your girl's not that smart. You can tell her she went home. And that's a deep thought. What? Oh, okay. This is Donald's nap time. She's like, okay, Pat is crazy. Yep, old Pat slipped a groove. There he goes. Bye, Pat. It's been nice. Holy shit, he's jumped the tracks again. Somebody get the rope. Boy's gone round the bend. Oh my God. Canoes, you know what that means? Ohio went red. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 seats we picked up in Ohio, dude. We didn't lose any, did we? Yeah, Brown won the Senate. Fuck. But the rest of the states are going to carry the Senate anyway. Everybody expected us to hold the Senate. That still sucks, though. Fuck Brown. Yep, that's right, Dad. We're pretty much officially a red state now. They just have to call it. Although how Brown won the Senate, I will never figure out. No, not the guy from California. No, it's not Jerry Brown. It's another Brown. Yeah, Sherrod Brown's not a crazy lunatic socialist. He just beats his women. His wife is a raving socialist, yeah. I don't think he is, no. Sherrod Brown is Wonder Bread White. I don't think he's in any way related to Bobby Brown. Yeah, she's a newspaper chick, I heard. I don't know a whole lot about him. I just know she's supposed to be some kind of journalist or some shit. Yeah, Connie, right, yeah. I had forgotten her name even. Thanks. I was just sitting there going, what the hell was her name? I can't fucking remember. Thanks, Canoes. Occasionally. every once in a while there's these moments of clarity. Yeah, but I think he meant the one that beat up Whitney Houston. Boy, what a fucking train wreck that circle of suck was, huh? That's a pretty good analysis, Canoes. I think you got it. Enough of the soft music and fire? No way. I love fires. Yeah, right on, Donald. Yeah, it was a few years before his time, I think. My goodness. For crap's sake. What the hell, Deborah? Give Gus a hug. Holy shit. It's fucking fantastic. It's getting a little nippy in here. Throw another Jew on the fire. Oh, that's bad. No bad Jew jokes. Holy shit. Oy vey. Yeah, I know. I'm a horrible human being. What the fuck? Just so like the ADL doesn't attack me or something, I don't really want to burn up Jews. Just for the record. I don't want a bunch of little dudes with like curly sideburns showing up my door tomorrow. Talk about oh my God. How could you tell that joke? It was terrible. It was a terrible taste is what it was. Oh my God. It would be terrible. See, Canoes knows. He knows the ones. Damn it. He knows the people I'm talking about. They'd come for me with their little ADL t-shirts on and shit. Yes, voted. Much voting went on in here. Absolutely, Gus. That's why we keep you around, man. You're the crazy that glues us all together, Gus. Hey, Sing, what's up, man? You have a lot of Hasidics around your area? Like the curly sideburn guys? They're pretty cool. But they don't even wear like the little hat. They got like different hats. They got a whole different hat thing going on. I think you can tell how important church people are by how cool a hat they've got. Or at least how big the hat is. I mean, like, look at the Pope. He's got a big fucking hat. That motherfucker was like, I want a 3-foot hat. And they were like, what? And he's like, yeah, don't fuck with me. I'm the Pope. I want a 3-foot hat. Oh, yeah, and I want you to make it look like a fish. Don't fuck with me. I'm the Pope. I will write you up, mister. Good bakers, right on. Votee. Voted. Good. Right on, Dallas. Damn it, I got 6 more votes. Well, knowing you, Donald Martino, those won't be registered voters. See what I did there? Undocumented, right? Yeah. My handgun is offended by the word, offended by the word unregistered. He prefers to be referred to as an undocumented firearm. Thank you. That'd be great. Oh, we're all fucked up in one way or another, Gus. This is like the island of broken toys and shit, for fuck's sake. A motherfucking normie stray out here, they might get devoured. They make a claymation Christmas movie about our ass, for fuck's sake. Well, for fuck's sake, give her some kisses and hugs. Jeez. What's a cat got to do around here to get some attention, for fuck's sake? Throws Bella some catnip. Right on. Welcome back, Tanya. The 57 Chevy. Nice. Which engines it got in it? The little one or the big one? Can you believe they made those cars as 6 cylinders? It's almost not even worth it. Of course we do, Gus. We're here to support each other, man. He's keeping the straight 6 in it. Right on. See, what he needs to do is drop about 500 cubes in that motherfucker. Drop about 500 cubes in there, put a blower on it. We'll have to jack up the suspension in the front a little bit. It'll ride a little low if you don't. Right on, Claude. Better add wings, right? $500 cubes is street legal, even if you put a blower on it. You can get a Chevy matchup 500 cubic inch engine for that car. Right in a box, brand new. It's like a manufacturer's product. You just don't get them at the dealerships ever. They sell them as aftermarket products. You'll get 600-700 horse out of that. And you can't put slicks on it. It's got to have street tires. Yeah, I had the Camaro Rally Sport with the 396 in it. It's a 69. 69 Camaro Rally Sport, 396. Bored out, blown, built to the max. The cam in it came out of a fucking, it was a 3/4 inch stainless steel marine racing cam. It came out of a 396 racing boat. When my car idled, the whole fucking thing rocked back and forth and shit. Just fucking sat there and shook. It was fun. 69 was the most beautiful Camaro ever. Yeah, it's a monster. I love that. I love that car, man. My cousin Ronnie's the one that built it. Really, I'm not a mechanic. He is. That dude could throw a wrench at a car and it would fire up and run. I was just amazed the shit out of me. Oh, nice. All original. That's cool. That's awesome. My Camaro wasn't original, man. The blower that my cousin put on the fucking thing came out of a 1977 Kenworth. He rebuilt the thing and remodified it to go on my car. It was a monster. Fucking 750 CFI and shit. Oh, it was a beast. I never had it dynoed, but I know it was up somewhere near 600 horse when we were done with it. And then I had to give it to my lawyer to pay legal fees. Son of a bitch. I hate it when that happens. Bear went live, right on. Yeah, dude, it sucked balls. I hated doing it, but I didn't have any choice. I was literally out of money, and it was the only thing left that I had of any value. Hell yeah, Don Bear is top notch, man. Oh, it was monstrously powerful, dude. That thing would just, it was there were cars that were faster off the line than it was, but I'll tell you what, from 7 miles an hour to 90 miles an hour happened pretty goddamn quick. You know what I'm saying? Once you got moving a little bit, it was an ugly sight. Oh.
my way back. Gotta find my swampy home. Gotta find my way back. Back to the swamp where I belong. Been gone such a long time. Mama, I'm coming home. Been gone such a long time. Mama, I'm coming home. Gotta find my way back. Gotta find my Louisiana home. Gotta find my way back. Way down south where I belong. Been 10 years in prison. Mama, I'm coming home. Where the bodies in the swamp were hidden. Mama, I'm coming home. No, I took the money. I took the money and I hid it good. No, I took the money, buried it deep out in them woods. 10 years in prison. Mama, I'm coming home. Where the bodies in the swamp were hidden. Mama, I'm coming home. Gotta find my way back. Gotta find my swampy home. Gotta find my way back. Deep in the swamp where I belong. Been gone such a long time. Mama, I'm coming home. Been gone such a long time. Mama, I'm coming home. Oh yeah. Get that crawfish pie ready, Mama. And that dilly gumbo.
All right, ladies and
You don't
gentlemen,
know what I've been
thank you very much for coming to hang out with me. We'll see y'all next time. May you be blessed. Keep up the prayers. Keep America great. Good night.